Guys, I just want to give you some context in the video you're about to see. I originally designed the video in the perspective of somebody who wants to defend a toddler or an infant inside of their home. I also designed the video for those who have a concealed weapon permit or they're legally allowed to carry their firearm concealed in their state while they're in the presence of a child, particularly a toddler or an infant. What I would like you to do is apply what you learned in this video to the private security world. So perhaps you are in executive protection and you have to protect the family. That family has infants, they have children. The techniques that you're about to watch will help you defend those children against an attack. Also, those of you who work executive protection, you can also provide some type of counseling or some type of professional consulting to your client. Maybe the client is armed and you want to advise them of some techniques. You can also use the techniques that you learned in this video and teach it to others. So here it is. Hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think.
Hi everybody, I chose this unusual spot in my house because I have a mirror that's directly in front of me that you can't see. Because of the mirror, I'm able to show you what the best angle is. My disclaimer is don't copy what I show you. Have a discussion with the self-defense expert of your choice. The thing is, it's very dangerous if you accidentally drop an infant or a child. So don't copy what I do. Use these techniques by having a discussion with your self-defense expert. I know that many of you attract the scum of the earth. Maybe you have a spouse that attracts the scum of the earth. Maybe you have an infant. I know many of you have children. Maybe you babysit an infant. Whatever the case, if this infant is in your control, I'm going to show you some techniques on how you can better protect them in the face of evil. One of the first things that you got to keep in mind is if there is a deadly force encounter, you don't want to stick around. Get out of there. Grab the baby and get out of there as safely as possible. The techniques I'm going to show you are meant for if you have no other option but to fight. Maybe you're cornered or the exit is being blocked by this person. You don't want to stick there and fight with an infant. We've seen a lot of bad things happen when you stick around and fight, even though you had options to take off. If you're going to practice with an inert gun, something that doesn't fire. You don't want to practice with your real firearm. Really dangerous. My recommendation is to keep your firearm when you're with children at a high port position. High port is like this, okay? The reason why you want to be at a high port position is because if you had it at the low ready, well, where are your children most likely going to be? Okay, if you have low ready, your barrel is most likely going to be pointing at their head if your child runs off. So you're going to want it at a high port. Use an inert gun, something that's not going to fire. It's very dangerous. You practice techniques with a live firearm. Also, I don't like to draw before I'm fumbling with my child, and the reason is you could very easily flag your child when you're trying to adjust them by just having the barrel in your hand, because where your hand is most likely to go is going to be positioning your child, and you're going to end up flagging your own child. Not a good thing. Now, I mentioned at between 5 to 7 yards, the bullets tend to go at a downward angle, and that is based on my idea that many of these shooters, they don't practice, or these gunmen, they don't practice shooting a lot. It's going to be a 3-step method. You're going to bring baby close to your chest. That's step 1. Step 2, with your left hand, grab the baby's thigh area, his left thigh. So left hand, left thigh. Okay, and you're going to make an exaggerated movement by swinging them in back of you. So this is very secure actually, because you have the left leg grabbed pretty decently, and then you're just going to basically just move him out of the range of fire. So from this position, make sure he's all the way in back of you like this, and then fire. So again, 3-step method. 1, 2, okay, bring him in back of you just like this, and then 3. Those of you that are left-handed, It's going to be a little bit differently, but it's still simple. Okay, step 1, bring him close to you. Step 2, you're going to grab with your right hand the right leg, okay, just like this, and then you're just going to swing him back of you just like this. Make sure the head is out of the threat zone, and then fire. Okay, so for a toddler, the dynamics are going to change a little bit, but the concept is the same. You want to keep the child's vital organs away from the threat as far away as possible, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You don't want to put your child in one place while you go to another place and take care of the problem. I don't think it's a good idea, because if that person ends up going to that place where you hate your child, that person might not have any reservations on hurting them or her. So this is my strategy, and you might want to talk it over with your self-defense expert. I like to get it on the ground, or actually kneel, so just like this, and then you have your child tell you to get on. You tell your child to get on your back. So make sure that you have Woody. You know, they're not going to leave without Woody. So you want to get them kind of like mid-back from up here, and then just pop up just like this, and then stick them down a lot, as far as your arm can go. Look in a mirror so that you see what the better angle is. As you can see right now, his head is basically out of the threat zone, and then from here I could draw, and then bam, bam, bam. I could take care of the problem. I could move if I have to, just like this. Okay, and he's going to be just like this. Okay. Now, keep in mind that a lot of these techniques I'm showing you, they're one-handed shooting, so you're going to have to practice with your one hand quite often. And anywhere beyond 5 to 7 yards, or 4.5 meters for those of you that live in UK or maybe Canada, and then 6.4, 6.5 meters as well out, that might be a hard shot for you. So make sure that you keep practicing, but it's going to be one-hand shoot. You're going to extend, and then don't forget to cant. That way you're able to control the recoil pulse. But just keep them in the back of you, just like this. So this technique is going to be used when you have no other options, when you receive a fatal injury and you want to safeguard your child. This technique is going to be used as a last resort. There's no chance of you surviving at all. Now, if you're inside of a house, try to get a window open. You want that so that just in case your child screams or yells or cries, that other people can hear and they're not just trapped inside the house. The door is different. You leave the door open, your child's going to walk out, might get hit by a vehicle. So what you're going to want to do is when you buckle down or you go down, you want to just use your knees, with both knees if you still have your knees. And what you're going to do is you're just going to hunker over your child in this position where you're down on your knees and your ankle is touching both of your butt. So this is going to be the position that you would leave your life with. So it'd be just like this. And then if you can't, smother your child with the blood that you still have, and that way it is active shooter situation. They might think that your child is already gone. But this is a position right here that you want to best protect your child in the worst circumstance. Now, if you remember what I said earlier, I mentioned that between 5 to 7 yards, the rounds are most likely going to be at a downward angle, and hopefully not that angle is where your child is going to be standing. The reason why I make that assertion is because many of these gunmen, these bad people, when they're firing the rounds off, they're not squeezing the trigger, they're just slapping it. A lot of them don't have a lot of training and practice with trigger control, so they end up just slapping it and it ends up going down at a downward angle. If you have any experience with recent shootings, maybe you investigated many, let me know where are these rounds going now. That'd be very important information that I like to convey to everyone out.